Remember the Facebook? It's the original name of the Mark Zuckerberg production first launched to Harvard students in 2004. The project Mr. Zuckerberg pivoted to after sinking his time and energy into a different social experiment.
What was Face Smash, and is it still up and running?
No, Congressman. Face Smash was a prank website that I launched in college in my dorm room before I started Facebook.
You put up pictures of two women and decide which one was the better, more attractive of the two, is that right?
Congressman, that is an accurate description of the prank website that I made when I was a sophomore in college.
The Facebook's come a long way since its early days of linking together Ivy League types who wanted to know who else lived on the floor of their dorm. It tried making a phone nobody wanted, it gobbled up other social apps like WhatsApp, and after rebranding the entire enterprise as Meta, and acquiring and building all sorts of VR tech in an attempt to launch what it calls the Metaverse, a virtual reality in which a cutting-edge feature is considered fake legs. Last year alone, Meta sunk $13.7 billion into its Reality Labs division, which makes this stuff. And not only have users called its Horizon Worlds platform sad and empty, a 2022 study by a nonprofit advocacy group declared the Metaverse was another, quote, cesspool of toxic content. The report claims a lack of content moderation allows toxic behavior towards female appearing and sounding avatars to thrive in Horizon Worlds, and says that this clip shows a user being virtually sexually assaulted while other virtual users look on and pass around a virtual bottle of vodka. Anyway, analysts believe Meta started pivoting its face away from the book and towards the verse for a number of reasons, including that last year, its total user base saw a decline for the very first time. And over the past several months, everyone from Vice to The Verge to Business Insider has declared, one way or another, that social media, like our little blue icon here, is dead. But to paraphrase Mark Twain's famous quote about his own exaggerated demise, Facebook's still alive. Earlier this March, the company had to write on its own blog, contrary to reports otherwise, Facebook is not dead nor dying, but in fact alive and thriving with 2 billion daily active users. Indeed, 2023 has been what Zuckerberg has dubbed Meta's year of efficiency, in light of all sorts of layoffs, business challenges, and however many $1 billion it costs to make up those fake legs. But on Wednesday, Meta's quarterly earnings call demonstrated significant signs of life, exceeding analyst predictions for revenue gains, showing off year-over-year profits, and even highlighting a 3% year-over-year growth of Facebook's monthly users. Now that's not to say Facebook is entirely alive and well. Just like our nation's leading politicians, Facebook is trending old. Back in May, the Associated Press compared the site's aging user base to people that still use AOL email addresses. And an insider intelligence analyst said its firm expects just about a quarter of Facebook's users to be between the ages of 18 and 34 by 2026, compared to 42% for Instagram and 46% for TikTok. Maybe that's because it's evolved from the virtual book of faces in your college network into a collection of random pages like, remember this? Which just tells people things like, share if you like ribbon candy. And in case you were wondering who remembers this, Sue Dunn says, I remember that candy. Ellie McNeil says, yes. And Bob Krisman says, wish I could find a place that still sell the. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that Facebook isn't popular with young people because it's turned into a message board for Wonka-era memories. But according to internal Facebook documents provided to Congress by a whistleblower back in 2021, Facebook's own data scientists found that most young adults perceive Facebook as a place for people in their 40s and 50s. And on the site, young adults perceive content as boring, misleading, and negative. I'll leave you to determine exactly how engaging ribbon candy content is, but that negative thing is key, because on Tuesday, 33 states filed a federal lawsuit against Meta for harming young people and contributing to the youth mental health crisis.
We are suing Meta, the umbrella company for Facebook, Instagram, and other popular platforms for violating federal and state laws, including the following 3 laws that we're focusing on. The Federal Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA, California's Unfair Competition Law, and California's False Advertising Law.
That's California's Attorney General, representing just one of the 33 states suing Meta for violating federal law for collecting data on kids under the age of 13 without their parents' consent.
In seeking to bolster profits, Meta has repeatedly misled the public about the substantial dangers of its products. It has concealed the ways in which Instagram and Facebook exploit and manipulate its most vulnerable consumers, teenagers and children.
According to Pew Research Center, almost all teens aged 13 to 17 use a social media platform. But because of federal regulations, kids under 13 aren't allowed to sign up for them. But of course, getting around those bans is about as easy as lying about your age on Miller High Life's website. Yeah, sure, I was born in 1920. Can I please drink a bottle of HTML now?
They have made, through sophisticated means, Instagram and their other platforms addictive. And they have targeted these platforms at teenagers and at kids. And we all know that teenagers and kids are different. Their brain chemistry is different. They are more vulnerable and more susceptible to this kind of manipulation.
Yeah, that's the thing here. Facebook acquired Instagram for $1 billion back in 2012, the year the Mayan calendar supposedly predicted the world was going to end. But as NASA points out, it did not. As reported by the Wall Street Journal back in 2021, Facebook's own studies for years have found that Instagram is harmful to the mental health of girls. Here are some attorneys general.
Meta is well aware of these harms, yet it continued to develop and implement these features, this behavioral cocaine, to make its platform increasingly addictive to more and more young people.
The company knew exactly how these design decisions could and would hook young people to the point of addiction, and yet continued to use them, and in many cases rejected using feasible alternatives that they knew would mitigate harm to our young people. And they did all of this with profit in mind, not people, not young users.
The company knows the following. Instagram is harmful to a significant percentage of teenagers, especially teen girls. They have research that found that 13.5% of teen girls on Instagram say the platform makes thoughts of suicide and self-injury worse. That 17% say it makes eating issues worse, and 32% say it makes body image worse. Meta has internal warnings that certain key features can push users into harmful content.
Meta knew that its platforms were unsafe for young users, yet Meta continued to claim that its products were safe and appropriate for children and teens.
This joint lawsuit by 33 states has been compared to lawsuits against Big Tobacco and Big Pharma over products believed to harm public health. A Meta spokesman has told the media that, "We share the Attorneys General's commitment to providing teens with safe, positive experiences online, and have already introduced over 30 tools to support teens and their families. We're disappointed that instead of working productively with companies across the industry to create clear, age-appropriate standards for the many apps teens use, the Attorneys General have chosen this path." The lawsuit is seeking financial damages and an end to practices that get young people hooked on products that could do them harm. Experts think Meta is likely to put up a fight to get this case dismissed. But as of late, its lawyers have been pretty busy cutting checks. In December, Meta settled a lawsuit for $725 million for feeding private user data into Cambridge Analytica. And back in 2020, Facebook settled a class action lawsuit out of Illinois for $550 million for illegally harvesting facial recognition data to suggest tags of people in photos without their permission. While that might not have been as outright nefarious as this,
You put up pictures of two women and decide which one was the better, more attractive of the two, is that right?
I'm pleased to report they did just send me $7.